Hey, Kevin, hope you're doing well. Obviously, it seems like this year your team's played better on the road than at home. Any specific reason for why maybe that is, at least from a win-loss standpoint, obviously?
James, I have no idea. But it's weird because if you look back, if you even go back to last year, when we won those five road games in a row, seems like that we had some success on the road. Um, I don't have an answer to that, and I'm not even going to begin to say that we play better on the road. But I will say we have more wins on the road than we would typically have at home. But that being said, we have a great home court advantage to play in. We play that one game in Reynolds, and then we play in the PNC, and great atmosphere against Carolina. We just have had a little bit more success the last couple of years playing on the road, and I don't know that there's an exact reason for that.
And just to follow up, I know last spring Greg Gant was your big front court transfer. I guess you call it free agent ad now, right, in college basketball. But he didn't play this year. How much have you been able to see from him at all, really? And kind of what are your expectations for him going forward?
It's funny because I was talking to the coach this morning. The front court that we thought we would have, just we never had. And that's Manny Bates, and then Greg Gant, and then obviously Ernest Ross. He is. We've thrown him in practice. He's starting to get better. He had to go through a healing process, which I think is going very well for him. And then the other thing is, through that process, he had put on some extra weight that certainly wasn't his playing weight, and now he's starting to get back in shape. And he worked out this morning, and he was really good in practice, and so he'll be ready to go. Obviously, he's not going to play this year, but he'll be ready to go next year. And that's the good thing about what we have here is through all our injuries, you got some good players that didn't get a chance to play that will be able to play next year.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
Thanks, James.
Mike Barber, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, if I could follow up on something that James asked you in terms of the home struggles, in terms of building a program, getting fan support. Obviously, you want to win games home and away, but is it more important to have a good showing at home in terms of building up the program and the fan support?
Yeah, Mike, it's always great to win at home, and we've had a lot of success at home over my years and been pretty doggone good here. This team was a little bit different. I wouldn't put anything into home and away wins or losses this year because it's a different team. It's not the team that everybody thought that we would have because of injuries. But if you go back to the first couple of years, first 3 years, and then into the fourth year, man, we've had such a great advantage at home. I think we've beaten, I want to say 7 to 8 top 25 teams. And I remember beating Duke when they were number 2. And, so we've had a lot of success at home. And this team's just different. It's different. And, it depends on what our group is, whether you shoot the ball well, whether you're at home or away, whether we win the game or not, because obviously we're very challenged with our front court guys.
And then we're getting to the point where we're going to select, player of the year in the conference, and everybody has different criteria for that. Just looking at the guys you faced, who gave you the hardest time? Like who stands out when I ask that question, kind of the one name that you right away think of?
Well, you can't ask me that game after what Baycock did on Saturday. That's just not fair. But I mean, he had 18 and 13 the first game, and I didn't even think he played great. And then I think 28 and 16 or 28 and 18, those numbers are eye-popping. So if you're asking me on Monday after the last game we played, then certainly Armando Baycock was pretty doggone good. Yeah. But that being said, Mike, it's a lot of great players in this league, and I'll go back and when we decide, who to vote on, I'll take a look at it. But not to slight anybody else because it's you got a lot of guys who are really good. My guy's having a good year in Sebron, and we're gonna play against Williams on Wednesday at Wake, and it's just so many good players in this league. But today, after Saturday, Baycott was really good.
Do you think Darian is he going to be kind of pulled down by the team record?
I'm not sure. Coaches look at different things. All I can tell you is that he's he's had a tremendous year for us. I don't know that there's been another guy in the league. I know it's a couple of guys out there, but has had a bigger improvement than him in the league, going from 6 points a game to 18 and 8 rebounds. And so he's had a great year. But I'm not sure how everybody will look at it, but I just know he's been a really good player for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Casey Hintz, go ahead.
Well, Kevin, unless you've come up with something better than Kenny Rogers in the last month or in the last few minutes, I'll spare you that question. I am wondering from a personal standpoint, social media is a dark place. I see your guys both on Instagram and Twitter. With the season that you have had, how do you deal with that with these guys from an emotional and mental standpoint, where I'm sure they don't miss a thing on social media, just about everything that's going on with this season?
Yeah, Casey, it's the world that we live in, and it's at times it can be a different world. But I always say that social media is not reality, and it's not. Nobody. Social media. The folks who are on social media can be really great at times, and then at times they can be harsh. But the most consistent thing about it is, for every coach in this league, and including myself, they're not into our practices. They're not into our locker room. They don't know what we share as a family. They don't know the things that we go through behind the scenes. And so you only get a chance to see a snapshot of every basketball program, and that's typically when you're on game night. And they don't get a chance to see that. So the love is what we have in this program. I'll be the first to say we're not having a great year, but there are reasons for that. But at the end of the day, I'm so proud of the guys that compete with me every day, the guys that are being practiced. And what I tell everybody is don't let social media affect you one way or the other. Even when they're telling you that you're great, just accept it. And when they're telling you that you stink, or the coach stinks, or everybody else is, just accept it. But it shouldn't determine your mood or how you go about your day to day or how you play. And that's the way I've always been able to look at it. I'm humble one way or the other. And I think when you stay humbled and you stay locked into your belief and you stay locked into your team, that's all that matters.
We'll take one more question from James Henderson. Go ahead, James.
Kevin, I had one more for you. You play Wake this week with Alondes Williams, and I don't know if he's still doing it, but at one point he was leading the league in scoring and assists. How difficult is that to do when you think about it in this era of guys who maybe focus a little more on scoring than passing?
Man, he's talented, and that's another young man. When I think they did a great job identifying a guy who has playing with great confidence, and you go back and look at his days at Oklahoma. And he's a good player, but he's turned out to be a great player this year. But a guy who can score and pass it's a big issue to be able to defend him, because when you stop him, then he's a willing passer. And I think what makes him special is, I've watched him on tape several times, and even watched their last game and then their recent game. He doesn't force a lot. He lets the game come to him. And, he's actually okay making a great play and pass to other folks. And I think that's important. And so he's a tough matchup because, he's not, in my opinion, going out trying to just score 25 a game. He's kind of trying to play a complete game. So he's a really good basketball player, and he'll be another big challenge for us on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Kevin, as always, thank you for the time. We appreciate it. We'll see you in Brooklyn.
Thanks, guys.